The version of me who was always achieving with struggle, with difficulty, never believed that she actually was it. She was striving to become it, whatever that is. The version of me who was constantly struggling, who was constantly seeking external validation, who was constantly identifying as a person who had to overcome obstacles in order to have the life she wanted, never believed that she already was the person with the life that she wants. Never believed she already was it. I'm Kristi. We're taking the woo-woo out of manifesting. I am a Yale-educated PA, and it is my firm belief that manifesting using the law of assumption is actually just neurobiology, and we can manipulate our brains in order to have the outcome that we want in any area of our life. But the most important area to apply your focus is always going to be identity, hands down. I will die on that hill. I don't care what the other law of assumption girlies say. It is your identity that formulates the foundation of everything that you get to be, do, and have in this world. And for the longest time, I already had an identity of success. I was a very ambitious person for most of my life, but I started out with disadvantages such as low income when I was growing up, uneducated parents, poor people mindset, and I really clung to the identity of crawling out from those circumstances just by like my nail beds. Like I had this identity that it had to be really hard and that all of the glory would come every time I overcame something that was really difficult. I was able to achieve a lot of things that were what I perceived to be very difficult. I lost 100 pounds because I wanted to join the army. That was a difficult process for me in my mind at the time. I have since lost 100 pounds. There is a story in between that we're not going to talk about today, but I have since lost 100 pounds effortlessly, and I much prefer that method. I decided that I was worthy of an Ivy League education, and this was before I knew about the law of assumption, so I spent 7 years going back to school and working hard to get straight A's so that I would have a chance at applying at and being accepted to PA school. There are countless other examples I can give you of how I clung to an identity that got me results, but got me results with stress and difficulty and probably taking way longer than I had to in order to just get that outcome successfully. And now that I know better, now that I understand how the brain works, your identity is actually the foundation for how you experience life. There's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, and I have lots of videos on how this works, but the part of the brain that gives you awareness of your surroundings is the reticular activating system, and it will actually take all of the like billions of pieces of sensory information that are coming to your field of vision, to sound, sight, touch, experience. It's all being filtered through the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system is getting its information from your belief system. Your brain is always seeking to prove your belief systems true. So when your reticular activating system is functioning from an identity of struggle, you're going to perceive everything out here from the standpoint of this is going to be a struggle. People who grew up without struggle and without indoctrination into an identity of struggle may work hard for things, but they will not perceive it as difficult. They will not perceive it as struggle. They will perceive it as a worthy challenge, and they will achieve what they want to. And you will achieve what you want to as well, but at the expense of your mental health, possibly your physical health, because depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve, you may be running yourself so ragged that your physical health is suffering. Your relationships may suffer because you simply don't have enough bandwidth to be able to interact with whatever you have to do in your day in order to achieve what you want and have the relationships that you want. And once I understood this, I actively chose to cultivate an identity where actually I don't perceive things as being difficult. I may have to do the same amount of work, but my perception of that work will never again be struggle or difficulty. It will be challenge that is worthwhile and worthy of the result that I am seeking, but I will never hold an identity of struggle ever again, and you don't have to either. You can choose soft power. You can choose an identity that benefits you instead of wearing you down physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and negatively affecting your health. Once you begin to affirm an identity or think thoughts from an identity that is out of struggle, where you decide that no matter what I have to do today, I am not going to choose to perceive it as hard, where you are not going to choose to perceive it as struggle. Once you begin to do that and commit to it, you are telling your mind that you mean business about this new identity, and you are no longer going to be a person of struggle. In fact, it is your responsibility to no longer identify as a person of struggle if you come from a family of generations of a family that worked very hard to be able to give you what you have. You owe it to yourself and to them and their struggle and their sacrifice and their memory, if they're no longer with you, that you have successfully transcended the struggle life. You owe it to them. So no matter whether you came from an easy life and you perceive your own struggle, or if you came from a life where your family sacrificed a lot to give you what you have, you owe it to yourself either way to transcend a life of struggle by no longer identifying with struggle. You can choose to identify with soft power. You can choose to identify as a lucky girl. You can choose to identify as the kind of person who always has opportunities. You are able to see opportunity in every circumstance. You can identify as a person who, no matter what it looks or feels like out in the 3D, you are still going to thrive. All of these perceptions are choices. The more you affirm that you are a person who gets to live by these affirmations, by these tenets, by identifying with these beliefs, the more natural they will become, the more your brain will find evidence to support your new beliefs rather than defending your old beliefs. And what's even better is the desires that you have will come to you with a feeling of effortlessness, because you are no longer stuck in an identity that identifies with struggle. Your power is now soft. Your power is now feminine. You are now being instead of chasing. You are now being instead of struggling. You are now being instead of trying. And it all boils down to a decision. It is disgust with identifying as a person of struggle that will allow you to commit to a decision where you get to have an identity of soft power, effortlessness, and ease. You may still do the exact same work in your day in order to achieve your desired result. However, the toll that it will take on your body, on your mental health, on your mind, and on your relationships is going to be beneficial instead of dysfunctional. You will be able to achieve your daily tasks with ease instead of weariness. It all boils down to a decision that you make to identify as a person who gets to have the life that they desire without struggle. And if you are craving an identity upgrade from a place of peace and stillness and calmness and nervous system regulation and certainty, and you feel like you've had a lot of success in your life, but you are just bumping up against a ceiling, not quite sure how to break through and have the ultimate fulfillment, purpose, and impact on the world that you know that you are capable of having. I am opening up one-on-one coaching. This is going to be luxury boutique coaching. The reason I say that is because you will have my entire focus and attention for the month of May. My entire focus will be on you, your identity, and your successful transition from the current limiting identity that you hold that has kept you stuck at a certain level to curating an identity that is limitless and supportive of having the energy and opportunity and resources for any outcome you could ever want for the rest of your life. And I'm taking applications for it right now. The link is in the description box below. And if you got value from this video, and I know that you did, please do interact with it. Like, share, comment, subscribe so that YouTube knows how valuable it is, and they will continue to send it out so that we can take the woo-woo out of manifesting. I am so happy that you are here building this community with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.